2 minutes begin now. Good morning again. Good morning, Chair, board members, Madam CEO, staff, and members of the public. I'll just remind everyone again to silence your cell phones and other electronic devices for the entire meeting. If you're a presenter or a speaking board member, please speak directly and loudly into the microphone, ensuring that the light on the microphone is green when speaking. Noting for the record that Member Beninfanti is absent. Thank you for your cooperation. Chair, there is one member of the public wishing to provide comments on item 22. Please step up. Mangito Falls.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Many folks, the representative for the New York City Carpenters Union. I just want to speak on item number 22 for New York Environmental Systems. This company has a contract. They've had multiple contracts. I think they're probably about 28, I think, so far, for vinyl replacement, for asbestos removal and replacement of vinyl tile. Now, that jurisdiction of work falls under the jurisdiction of the carpenter. Out of these 28 or so contracts, that's so far that's already listed. They haven't contacted the District Council of Carpenters once for a carpenter. So this work seems to be going on, so I assume that there's misclassification of work going on somewhere, so I don't know who has to check on that or who's responsible in NYCHA to check on that, but I tried to do a FOIA request, and at least I've spoken to you in the past about this. I have FOIA requests I'm waiting 3 years for. So I don't understand why it takes that long, but I'm told that they're busy. I've spoken to numerous people, so I can only do so much, but if I don't get the information back from NYCHA in a timely fashion, like I said, there's misclassification work going on because I see the contracts, I see the money's being spent, there's no carpenters doing the work. So I hope someone in NYCHA will look into this, because as we know, we've had this situation with other contractors with this big shakeup that happened a while back, so hopefully that doesn't have to happen again. So hopefully whoever's responsible for looking into this, and before they start awarding these contracts, and make sure that the companies are doing the right thing.
So I'm sorry, you've asked about this company before, you've asked about generally other companies?
Well, this company in general, that the contract, the type of work that's going on, so there's misclassification of work going on, because none of my carpenters are going to do the work. So that installation at that vinyl floor tile, under that PLA, that's the jurisdiction of carpenters.
Okay.
We can have our law department look into that.
Okay. And as you know, the FOIA request is something, hopefully something to be done, because I don't understand why it takes 3 years to get something captured.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
man,
you.
appreciate it.
Chair, that concludes our public comments portion, and we will proceed with the regular calendar. The first order of business is to adopt the minutes of the prior board meeting, regular meeting held on Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. May I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Seconded by?
Gavin.
Thank you, Member Gavin. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Thank you. Chair, do you wish to make any remarks before we begin?
Not at this time, thank you, Jay.
Thank you. Madam CEO, do you wish to make any remarks before we proceed?
I do, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to give an update on the trust and voting. The trust has been hard at work advancing the pre-development process for No String Houses and Bronx River Addition. This has been a tremendously collaborative effort across NYCHA and the trust, and we are grateful to our team members who have provided their time, insight, and expertise. We're also deeply grateful to the residents of No String Houses and Bronx River Addition who have been so generous with their input and feedback, helping us to ensure that the renovations and services the trust will provide meet their needs. We're thrilled to share that this summer we completed 2 votes at Coney Island and Coney Island 1 Site 1B, which is also referred to as Unity Towers. They both had strong voter turnout, reflecting how residents are showing up and showing that they want their voices to be heard in the future of their developments. Residents at Unity Towers voted to join the trust, making them the 3rd site to opt into the trust modernization program. Heading into October, we're excited to kick off our pre-development process with this community. We've launched our next voting site at Highland, which is development in Bushwick, Brooklyn, with 209 units. We are currently partway through the 100-day engagement period, during which our voter engagement team educates residents on their options for a vote. We won't know the results of this vote until December, but we will of course keep the board updated on where things land. I also wanted to let everyone know that on August 21st, NYCHA's new co-monitors, Neil Borofsky and Matthew Cipolla, both partners at Jenner and Block, issued their first quarterly report as required by paragraph 25 of the 2019 HUD agreement. The quarterly report catalogs the monitor's activities over the past 5 months, NYCHA's compliance with the terms of the agreement, and the objective data that reflects the agency's performance against its targets. We believe the report is a fair and reasonable assessment of our progress under the agreement. The monitors consulted NYCHA's senior team extensively throughout the process, sending several rounds of drafts at each section for our edits, corrections, and objections. The monitors were highly responsive to our comments and worked closely with our teams to ensure factual accuracy and data integrity across all topics. We look forward to continuing our work on these important changes and remain committed to working closely with our federal partners to deliver service improvements for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam CEO. We'll move along to the next item on the agenda, and that's a report by the Executive VP for Real Estate Development, Jonathan Bouvier, and he will give us a PACT program update.
Thank you. Good morning, board members. I'm Jonathan Bouvier. I'm the Executive Vice President of Real Estate Development. The real estate development.
Jonathan has had a baby since we last saw him in this set.
Thank you. So we are charged with reinvesting in, restoring, and rebuilding our portfolio of housing. By way of a reminder, one of the biggest initiatives that we are charged with is the PACT program, and we were tasked with converting 62,000 units starting in 2019 effectively and running through the end of this decade. So I'm going to go through today, I'm going to give you a bit of an update on where we are in terms of our progress. Next slide, please. So we're making actually very good progress. Right now we've got about 21,000, almost 22,000 development or apartments rather that are either where construction is complete or construction is underway. That will address $5.7 billion worth of physical needs. And you can see on the map, the blue dots, the distribution of projects that are either complete or under construction. And that represents 87 developments. And in our planning and resident engagement phase, we've got another 52 developments or 16,000, just over 16,000 apartments for another $7.6 billion worth of work. I should note that by Thursday of this week, we will also close on conversions at Fred Sam, which is another 664 developments. And then the combination of Boston Secor, Boston Road, and Middletown Plaza for another 952, so a total of 1,616 units. So by the end of this week, the number of units that are in conversion and under construction will go to 23,000 units, so making fantastic progress. Next slide, please. This is just a tabular form of the projects that have already converted, so you can see everything that's gone through so far. It does not include the two that I just mentioned. Once we close on Thursday, we'll update this slide. The developments with the blue circles to the left, those are where we have construction complete. And in the coming months, Williamsburg, Linden Plaza, and Boulevard, those projects will also be joining the ranks of completed construction. Next slide, please. Just to drill down a little bit more, right now, in 2024, we have $4 billion worth of active construction underway. That reflects 10 PAC projects totaling over 12,000 apartments across 37 developments. You can see some images from the work that's been done so far. The picture on the left is the new common area, the playground area at Harlem River, which is fantastic. You can also see on the right the image at Williamsburg Houses, where they've done a tremendous complete rehab of these buildings. It's really a gut renovation that's been going on here due to the amount of lead that's in those apartments. Next slide, please. With respect to lead, so far we have over 3,000 apartments where lead has been abated. You can see again some of the really extensive work that's been going on. On the left, you've got Williamsburg Houses, where again, this is a development that's had to go through basically a full gut rehab. And then the image on the right is at Harlem River Houses, which also was in our HUD agreement. Both of these developments were in the HUD agreement, given the amount of lead, and they've had to go through extensive rehab in order to remove that lead. And you can see that we're taking that very seriously. Next slide, please. Just in terms of the asset management, so once we have done the conversion, we provide extensive asset management oversight of our projects. So just to give you a sense of the number of work orders that are produced in any given month, they're relatively low. None of the reporting categories, work orders exceeding 2% of the portfolios to 21,000 units. Over 99% of the work orders created across all of the repair categories have been resolved, and 84% of them are resolved on time. And just by way of reminder, we're talking about elevators, heat, lead, leaks, mold, and pests. And again, you can see a number of images across the portfolio of the work underway. We talk a lot about our commitment to resident engagement. Next slide, please. So right now we've got, over the course of the last several months, we've had 28 TA boards receiving technical support through the PAC resource team. We've got residents at over 16,000 apartments that are going through active pre-development and engagement with our partners. So a tremendous effort on the part of our various resident engagement teams within the real estate team and across NYCHA. Continuing on the theme of resident engagement and resident support, next slide please. We've been developing community plans. So these are documents that we started to produce in our closings last year that we released to all of the households. And it really summarizes all of the commitments that have been made by the development teams and what residents can expect. And you can see some of the images of what we provide. It sort of shows you the materials that are going to go into the apartments and the scope of work that the residents can expect. So it gives them a detailed plan from the date of conversion all the way through to construction completion around what they can expect. And these have been very well received by our residents. Next slide, please. So we've been starting to measure resident satisfaction. So far we have surveyed residents at Ocean Bay, Baychester, Murphy, and Matanzas.
Can I ask you a quick question? I'm sorry. Just going back to the one slide deck. Are those plans available online
Yes, they are.
on the NYCHA website?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any active trust voting processes on that one right now?
Yes.
Which one?
Highland,
When is it done?
December.
Thanks.
So we have the 4 completed surveys at the sites that I mentioned, Ocean Bay, Baychester, Murphy, and Matanzas. And we have other active surveys ongoing now. Generally, what we look for is, the developments that we approach are projects that have been complete, construction's been complete for about a year, and then we launch the survey process. So of the 4 that we have surveyed, you can see some of the results here. 77% of residents who responded to the survey were very satisfied with the renovations to their buildings. 87% of respondents are likely or very likely to recommend PACT to other NYCHA developments. Respondents also said that they are likely or very likely to recommend their development to their family or friends as a place to live. And 2 out of 3 respondents say that their new NYCHA management is better than NYCHA. 78% of respondents say that the buildings and grounds are cleaner than before, and nearly 70% of residents say that they feel more stable in their new living condition. We will continue to use this as a tool to make sure that we're providing better oversight and making sure that our partners continue to improve their service so that these numbers can continue to improve, and it'll also help us inform the way we design the program. And finally, next slide please, just a couple of other announcements to make as it relates to PACT and real estate activities in general. We had a lot to celebrate in 2024. We closed Sac Warren and West Brighton. You can see some of the images from the actual groundbreaking ceremony that was held at West Brighton. We also celebrated the completion of outdoor space at Wise Towers, where our vice chair lives, as well as the Harlem River development that I mentioned. And then we also celebrated the opening of some 100% affordables that we did with HPD, and that was at the Atrium, Casa Salina, and Melrose North. Thank you.
Jonathan, who monitors the satisfaction from your team? Is there a team that's assigned to each project going forward?
Yes, I mean, it's a joint effort across a couple of verticals, but primarily it's run by our portfolio planning team.
Okay, and the 70%, those numbers in satisfaction, were they across the board on the 4 developments, or was there any one that was particularly a problem?
It was fairly consistent across the board, and we can certainly do a deeper dive into the specific results at each development.
But it was
if you
pretty
like.
consistent across the 4. Okay, thanks, good job.
Thank you.
I don't know if maybe I missed it, because not everyone would, but when I saw the listing of developments, at what stage is Manhattanville? I don't think I saw it there.
It hasn't closed yet, so it's in the pre-development. Yeah, that table that we had up, those are all the developments that have closed. So the construction's either complete or construction underway.
So it's only properties that have closed
Okay,
and construction's underway.
okay,
The ones with the blue dots,
right.
construction is complete.
The next thing is, if it's a concern about the management companies that have been placed in any development, who would we address those concerns to?
You can let me know.
Okay. No problem.
Yes.
Good answer.
Any other questions?
No, I think this is great. I mean, just two quick points. One is on the survey, which you don't have to go to it, but I think the comment about how satisfied the residents are with current management versus NYCHA management, I suspect has at least something to do with the fact that they're now living in conditions,
Absolutely.
physical conditions that are
Right.
infinitely better than they were before.
Yes.
So it's not probably a comment on NYCHA. It's not about NYCHA it's not the workforce, that's not our workforce.
Yeah.
It's just I'm living better and
That's right.
everything's better. So that's, should be clear. And I mean, just looking at these numbers, I mean, so this is more than $5.5 billion of capital. By the time this pipeline is done, and of course you're adding to the pipeline every time. And if I remember correctly, the 2017 P&A was 37 billion or something like that.
That's right.
So time is moving on, but by the time this pipeline is done, in theory, you'll have taken almost $6 billion out of that, adding to it from other purposes. None of this work gets done without PACT. I mean, I don't, we can have a reasonable discussion about other ways to do this work, but none of it gets, not a dollar, not a unit gets done without PACT. Because the existing Section 9 program funding, you can't do this. It's not that we don't want to, there is no way to do this. So I just think it's it's an incredible accomplishment. It says a lot about PACT and your work, so thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanna add my congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
all have been really aggressive and innovative, and this is a true accomplishment, and very happy that, with the city's partnership and the additional capital that we provided to really accelerate PACT and the trust and all the work we did together to get the trust passed. But you've been exceptional, Jonathan and the
Thank
team
you.
and Lisa, and this is really making a difference for many, many people.
Thank you, and thank you for the city's support.
Thank you, John.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. We'll now proceed to the calendared items 1 through 29. Item 1, Katie.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, board. My name is Katie Bergio. I'm the Deputy Director for Sustainability Programs in NYCHA's Asset and Capital Management Division. I'm requesting the authorization to enter into a lease agreement with API Capital LLC, a solar developer. This agreement will lease the rooftop spaces of 6 developments: Astoria, Ravenswood, Brownsville, Brook Allen, and South Jamaica 1 and 2, to provide community solar for low and median income New Yorkers. The lease will generate an annual revenue of $138,019.68 for the six developments, and it will also generate 7 megawatts of power towards our goal of 30 megawatts by 2026. The lease will be for 20 years with 5 one-year renewal options, and the total revenue generation for the initial 20-year term is $2.76 million. Are there any questions?
No, that's great, that's great, this is a hard thing to do. I know a lot about it.
Appreciate the support.
Sure.
Thank you, Katie. Item 2, Jermaine.
Good morning, board members. My name is Jermaine Francis. I'm the Deputy Director for Program Management at PNCM. And I'm here to present board item number 2. I am requesting authorization to award a contract for a community center renovation at Corsi House to the lowest responsive bidder, Gemco Electric Construction, in the amount of $5,384,696. The purpose of this contract work for community center renovation. The scope of work includes, but is not limited to, renovation and addition of interior partitions, finishes, floorings, ceiling. We will also be upgrading lighting panels, fixtures, locker rooms, music room, bathrooms, and accessories. We will also be upgrading the heating and ventilation system to ensure that the existing elevators complies with the American with Disability Act, and installing new graded pavements and built-in planters at the development. The term for this contract is 1 year and 6 months and 27 days. The projected section 3 labor hours is 1,375 hours, which represents 25% of the overall labor. Do any of you board members have any questions?
There are no questions, thank you. Items 3 through 6, Oliver.
Thank you.
Just to confirm,
Good morning, board members, good morning, colleagues. I'm Oliver Osterwin, Vice President for Project Management and Asset and Capital Management. I'll be presenting items 3 through 6 together. It's the same scope of work at 4 different developments. These items seek authorization to ratify the award of 4 boiler and hot water heater replacement contracts at Carver, Sumner, Bronx River Addition, and East River Houses in the not to exceed amounts of $35,520,007, $38,400,000, $30,030,000, and $29,420,000 to WDF, Richards Plumbing and Heating, Dynamic US, and AWL Industries, respectively. The contract terms are 2 years, 5 months, 29 days, 2 years, 6 months, 17 days, 2 years, 5 months, 29 days, and 2 years, 3 months, 18 days. And the projected Section 3 labor hours are 25,334, 3,000, 10,500, and 31,200 respectively, which represents 25% of the overall. Any questions?
There are none. Thank you, Oliver. Item 7, Dylan.
Capital Management Officer. I'm seeking a request for special authorization beyond contract term for eBuilder, which is our project management and construction management software. It's a cloud-based software, and we'd like to extend the term for 2 years, so that it moves the end date from the end of this year, 12/31/24, to 12/31/26. We're also requesting a contract capacity increase in the amount of $1,756,336.72. This would allow us to continue using the software for the next 2 years. And we're also currently undergoing proof of concept, so we're working to roll out a new solution. So this will extend the current contract for 2 years while we work on this new solution, so that there's not a loss in software or impact to asset and capital management. Are there any questions?
Items 8 and 9, mark out.
Good morning, board. My name is Marco Acevedo, Deputy Director with the Elevator Service and Repair Department. Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to discuss items 8 and 9. This IDIQ contract provides for the response to elevator outages, emergency repair, and restoration. The scope of work includes, but is not limited to, furnishing all labor, material permits, insurance, and incidentals required for emergency repair and restoration of elevator outages on an as-needed basis. This includes responding to elevator outage calls and repairing, replacing parts, and lubricating such parts as necessary or required to maintain the elevators in a safe operating condition. Big Apple Elevator shall maintain optimum efficiency and safety of the elevators by prompt replacement of any parts which show excessive wear and or are approaching failure. Pursuant to award of this IDIQ contract, which did not require initial board authorization, the notice to proceed was issued for a 3-year term which commenced on July 6, 2023, and is now continuing through July 5th, 2026. This contract capacity increase is required to address the current high demand for response to elevator outages, emergency repair, and restoration. There are 2 main types of elevator service disruptions. One being elevator outage. An elevator service disruption is considered an outage when there is still elevator service in the building. For example, if a building has 2 or more elevators, an A and B car, and only one of these is out of service, that's an elevator outage, not a no service condition. The next one being a no service condition, or NSC, which occurs when there is no elevator service in the building. This situation frequently arises in a building with a single car, but can also happen in multiple car buildings, regardless of how many cars, maybe they're all out of service. The increase in demand for these services is currently driven by the following: outside temperatures, which are causing low voltage conditions during periods of high outside temperature and peak demand. The electrical utility provider, Consolidated Edison, may schedule or randomly implement power reductions, low voltage brownouts affecting the grid. Elevators require constant 208 volts to operate, and any reduction in voltage can lead to elevator outages and no service conditions. Currently, there are 23 vacancies for NYCHA elevator mechanics. The elevator service and repair department treats every elevator outage as an emergency. This policy aligns with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD agreement. The HUD agreement, effective January 31st, 2019, entered into by HUD, the authority in the City of New York, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. The HUD agreement is designed to remedy the poor physical conditions in authority developments. It includes several key elevator obligations and requirements per the HUD agreement. The authority is obligated to establish an action plan on responding to no service conditions and outages. Without the additional funds, the authority will fail to comply with the HUD agreement. This IDIQ contract ensures the authority's ability to provide continuous elevator repair and restoration for the safety authority residents. This contract capacity increase is required to increase the not to exceed amount in order to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the initial 3-year term. A vendor name check is not required. Any questions?
Okay, so essentially, these are two contract capacity increases to two separate contracts, both of which were awarded to Big Apple Service, citywide contracts, and the increase on each is 750,000, and the Section 3 total labor hours is 1,000, and Section 3 labor hours are 250 for both, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Items 10 and 11, Emily?
Good morning, members of the board.
Good morning, members of the board. Anne Marie Flatley, the Senior Vice President for Performance Management and Analytics. For resolution number 10, this resolution seeks authorization to submit an amendment to the authority's fiscal year 2024 annual PHA plan. The amendment includes the following. 1, the fiscal year 2024 capital fund statement, performance and evaluation report, and the 5-year capital plan for 2024 to 2028. Number 2, an updated statement that the authority is implementing changes to income reviews for public housing and Section 8 programs as required under Section 102, and the maximum asset limits for public housing and Section 8 applicants and participants under Section 104 of the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act of 2016. Number 3, the request to HUD to submit the necessary applications and to obtain the necessary approvals to release the Glebe Avenue, Westchester Avenue public housing development from its declaration of trust in order to convert the subsidy from Section 9 public housing subsidy to Section 8 project-based voucher PVV assistance pursuant to 1, the Rental Assistance Demonstration Program, and 2, disposition under Section 18 of the U.S. Housing Act of 1937 as amended, and add the developments to the previously approved Permanent Affordability Commitment or PACT program conversions. Number 4, the request to HUD to submit the necessary applications and to obtain the necessary approvals to release Nostrand and Bronx River Addition public housing developments from their declaration of trust in order to convert the developments from Section 9 public housing subsidy to Section 8 PVV assistance pursuant to disposition under Section 18. And number 5, the request to HUD to submit the necessary applications and to obtain the necessary approvals to grant an approximately 19,314 square feet permanent subsurface agreement pertinent to Wagner Houses to Metropolitan Transit Authority and to release such subsurface easement area from the development's declaration of trust pursuant to disposition under Section 18. And finally, this resolution also seeks authorization to submit the certification of compliance with the PHA plans and related regulations to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in accordance with Section 511 of the Quality Housing and Work Responsibility Act of 1998. Please note for the record, there are 8 notations which are listed in the certification document that is also included in the board resolution. This signed certification, along with the final amendment and board resolution, will be electronically submitted to HUD by October 18th.
Great.
Resolution number 11. This resolution seeks authorization to submit the authority's fiscal year 2025 annual PHA plan and fiscal years 2025 to 2029 5-year PHA plan. The fiscal year 2025 plan includes the items that were just discussed for the board resolution for the significant amendment to the 24 plan. The plan also includes updates to several PHA plan elements, including financial resources, community services and self-sufficiency programs, conversion of public housing to tenant-based and project-based assistance or project-based vouchers under the Rental Assistance Demonstration Program, the fiscal year 2025 capital fund statement, performance and evaluation report, and the 5-year capital plan, and an update on NYCHA's progress in meeting its mission and goals. The 5-year PHA plan, which is in the same document, describes NYCHA's mission and its long-range goals and objectives for achieving its mission over the next 5-year period. The goals include compliance with the objectives of the monitoring agreement, real estate development activities including PACT, commitments to build 100% affordable housing, and the Public Housing Trust, as well as Section 3 reporting and promoting equal opportunity in housing. This resolution also seeks authorization to submit the certification of compliance with the PHA plan and related regulations to HUD in accordance with Section 511 of the Quality Housing Work Responsibility Act of 1998. This certification that will be executed includes the same 8 notations which were included in the board resolution for the significant amendment to the 2024 plan. And this signed certification, along with the plan, board resolution, will be electronically submitted to HUD's office by October 18th.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Items 12 through 14, Javier.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Javier Almodovar. I am the Vice President of NYCHA's Heating Management Services Department. And today I will be presenting board resolution items number 12, 13, and 14. We'll start with item 12, which is a request to ratify a contract awarded to Tri-State Pump and Motor Incorporated. This is an IDIQ contract for the Borough of Brooklyn and can be utilized citywide. The terms of the contract is 3 years with 2 one-year renewal options and a not-to-exceed amount of $5 million. This contract provides the capacity to repair and replace pumps that are connected to NYCHA's heat and hot water systems. The pumps included in this contract are ejector pumps, sump pumps, vacuum pumps, feed water pumps, hot water circulator pumps, and heat circulation pumps. These pumps are located at NYCHA boiler rooms and heating mechanical rooms. The scope of work includes furnishing all labor, materials, tools, insurance, permits, and equipment needed to repair or replace these pumps on an as-needed basis. The projected Section 3 hours for this contract are 50,000 hours, and a vendor name check is not required. Any questions on item number 12?
Proceed.
I'll move on to 13 and 14 together. Items 13 and 14 request to ratify 2 contracts, both awarded to Watson Plumbing and Heating Building Services Incorporated. Item number 13 is to award an IDIQ contract with a focus in the borough of the Bronx and can be utilized citywide. Item number 14 is to award an IDIQ contract with a focus in the boroughs of Queens and Staten Island and can also be utilized citywide. The terms of both contracts is 3 years with 2 one-year renewal options. Each contract has a not-to-exceed amount of $5 million. These contracts, again, provide the capacity to repair and replace pumps that are connected to NYCHA's heat and hot water systems. These pumps, again, include ejector pumps, sump pumps, vacuum pumps, feed water pumps, hot water circulator pumps, and heat circulation pumps. These pumps are located in NYCHA boiler rooms and heating mechanical rooms. The scope of work includes furnishing all labor, materials, tools, insurance, permits, and equipment needed to repair or replace these pumps on an as-needed basis. The projected Section 3 hours for these contracts are 8,000 for each contract, and a vendor name check is not required. Any questions?
Just out of curiosity, what section, contract 12, item 12, is for $5 million or 50,000 hours, up to $5 million. And the other 2 are $5 million and they only have 8,000 hours. Is there some reason for the difference?
I'm not sure, but I can get back to you. I can find out.
Please.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Javier.
Thank you.
Items 15 through 19, Samantha.
Good morning, board members, CEO, and all in attendance. I'm Samantha McMillan, the Brooklyn Operations Administrator. And I will be presenting on items 15 through 19. Requesting authorization for compact capacity increase for, item number 15 is contract increase capacity for, Robert Star Plumbing and Heating Corporation for citywide for the amount of, original amount of $5 million to increase it to $7,500,000. Total projected labor hours is 26,000 Section 3 hours and 35,000 labor hours. Authorization is being requested to approve a contract capacity increase to this IDIQ contract award to Robert Store Performance Services. Are there any questions?
Proceed.
Item number 16 is the authorization for compact capacity increase for JP Handler Construction Inc. for various locations in the Bronx. For the original amount is $499,993.55 for $1,500,000. The authorization is being requested to approve the contract capacity increase to this requirement contract awarded to JP Handler for janitorial general